Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and all protocols observed. Allow me first to recognize my colleague who has been leading the line ministry of Kenya Pipeline Company before the government-owned enterprises law came into effect. The Honorable James Opiyo Wandayi is in the house. You could just rise. We clap for him. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, it is truly an honor to stand before you at this memorable event to usher in the KPC as a listed company in the Nairobi Securities Exchange. This is coming 18 years after the last government of Kenya listing in the Nairobi Securities Exchange way back in 2008, and indeed marks a critical moment in our nation's economic journey. The finalization of the KPC IPO is a significant milestone that transcends a single transaction or just being a key statistic at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. It is a clear demonstration of the government's commitment in setting our country's sustainable economic foundation and ensuring that we have a nation that stands on stability, fairness, and offering equal opportunities to its people. Your Excellency, our economic policies are not about just managing the present, but focused on building the future, and our delivery guardrails built around fiscal discipline, sound planning, and broad participation. I must admit that since you appointed me to this position of the Cabinet Secretary to the National Treasury, the KPC IPO has been one challenging assignment that kept me on my toes since my team and I had to get it right the first time. We did not want to disappoint you, Your Excellency, and disappoint the people of Kenya. And I'm happy today we are witnessing that success. So when I first announced the KPC IPO, I did promise the country that the process shall be undertaken under a strict framework encompassing accountability, equity, value for money, and transparency. Remember, Your Excellency, that at that time the naysayers actually said that there is some shadowy investor somewhere placed strategically to take over KPC. Today, I want them to confirm whether there is that such shadowy investor somewhere taking up KPC. The architecture of KPC will be still 35% GOK, about 20% by Uganda government. We have our institutional investors investing in it, received from your office and the entire cabinet on this. Let me reassure our investors and Kenyans that as disclosed in the IPO's prospectus, the proceeds from the IPO shall be deployed into the National Infrastructure Fund. And you again re-emphasized this yesterday and even today. This is a vehicle we have purposed as a premier economic engine to scale up and accelerate development of catalytic national infrastructure, including national highway and railway networks, air and seaports, electricity generation, transmission and distribution, irrigation and agribusiness infrastructure. The deployment of the proceeds of the National Infrastructure Fund is well aligned with the Kenya's fiscal realities and long-term development objectives, focused on sustainable financing and safeguarding national assets for future generations. I am particularly impressed on some of the key milestones that have been gained from this IPO. One, it has been the first e-IPO, meaning all applications were submitted electronically, hence a truly paperless IPO. Number two, the IPO attracted over 70,000 ordinary Kenyans, meeting the IPO's key policy objective of democratizing public assets by broadening the shareholder base. Number three, the investment by the government of Uganda, and I'm happy that the government of Uganda is fully represented here, led by the PS in charge of energy, Madam Irene. Kindly rise up. Thank you very much, my sister. That this investment by the government of Uganda is considered very strategic in making KPC a truly regional corporate. And also, the government of Rwanda has also invested, through their pension scheme, has invested in KPC. This is the first government-led IPO being undertaken through a structured legal framework, that is the Privatization Act, which you assented to in 2025, with cabinet and parliamentary oversight, public participation and compliance with capital market sector and competition regulations, heightening the transparency and oversight framework in divestiture of public holdings. All IPOs carried out by GOK, or Government of Kenya, in the past were undertaken through policy framework, and this is the first time it is being undertaken through a robust legal framework with transparency. We strongly root for the capital markets as the most strategic tool that supports economic growth through the provision of capital, encouraging investments, and improving market system. It is one of the most powerful mechanisms we have for mobilizing savings, directing investment, and generating wealth. I am impressed with the recent development in this market following the launch of ZD by Safaricom PLC, which has given ordinary Kenyan success to direct stake in national progress. Over 36,000 Kenyans participated in this IPO through the ZD app, and it's worth noting that the app was just launched a week to the close of the offer. From a capital markets development perspective, Your Excellency, KPC, which is now PLC, as a newly listed corporate at the National Nairobi Securities Exchange, provides institutional investors, both local and foreign, such as mutual funds, pension funds, and insurance companies, with an additional instrument to diversify their assets, thus increasing the potential for significant inflows of portfolio investment. The eventual listing of KPC at the Nairobi Securities Exchange shall increase institutional investors' desired stock of assets in the exchange, and this will end up with an increase in the flows of foreign capital. Your Excellency, from the IPO performance outcome, KPC transitions, not just that of being a listed corporate, but will now be properly positioned as a regional company, allowing it to play a significant geopolitical role in East Africa's petroleum sector, primarily through its pipelines infrastructure and strategic location. KPC, from this divestiture, shall acquire the much-needed flexibility to access capital for expanding its pipeline capacity, improving storage facilities, and developing its oil refinery to cater to increased demand and regional needs. In conclusion, Your Excellency, allow me to appreciate all the stakeholders who contributed to this landmark success. I might not be able to mention all those who are involved, but allow me to recognize the following key stakeholders. One, I want to first recognize that the National Assembly played a significant and key role in passing the relevant, starting with session of ESPA and passing the relevant laws that allowed us to progress this IPO. Two, all the investors for their trust and confidence in the IPO amidst the many prophets of doom. Number three is the government of Uganda for accepting our invitation to invest in KPC, allowing the company to be a proper regional company. Number four is the board and management of the Privatization Authority, led by the chairman Faisal Abbas and the board in its entirety, and also the acting managing director, Dr. General Somondi, for its focused leadership during the transaction. I would also want to recognize the board and the management of Kenya Pipeline Company, led by the chair of the board, Madam Faith Boynet, and Joe Sang, for their cordial support towards the success of the transaction. I will not forget the Capital Markets Authority and the Nairobi Securities Exchange for their rigorous regulatory oversight that ensure the integrity of this process. Second last is the transaction advisory team led by the lead transaction advisors. And I want to mention Faida Investment Bank, the legal advisors, that is Triple OK Law Advocates and GA Advocates, the reporting accountants, PricewaterhouseCoopers, the data processing agent and share registrar, Image Registrars, the joint sponsoring stockbrokers led by Diane Blair Investment Bank and Francis Drummond and Company Limited, the advertising agency Belva Digital, the PR agency Apex Portal Novel, and the receiving banks, that is the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, KCB Bank, and Stanbic Bank, for their technical expertise in structuring and executing this complex transaction. Finally, to all the stock brokers, investment banks, and agents across the country who took this message to every corner of the Republic of Kenya. And allow me, Your Excellency, also to thank my team at the National Treasury, and we have my team here. Could you kindly rise up, led by the two principal secretaries, Chris Kipto, National Treasury, and Cyril Odede, who is in charge of public investment and asset management, and of course, Lawrence Kibet, who has actually done a lot of donkey work, actually, so to speak. And Lawrence, you'll forgive me for putting a lot of pressure on you. But you can see the results. Everyone is happy.